Sir, we appreciate your answer. One of the other very serious issues that's related to this, and we've tried to put these questions in a way that they would make the most sense, related specifically to what's happening here in Farmers Branch, brings us to, we'll be back to the Cutler side. Should landlords be required to determine someone's immigration status before renting to them? Mr. Rodriguez?
Please repeat the question.
Yes, sir. Should landlords be required to determine someone's immigration status before renting to them?
If that's the law, absolutely. As far as I can see, 2908 that Farmers Branch is passed. If in fact it's passed, the landlord's got a responsibility. We each have a responsibility in this country as far as laws are concerned. Certainly, laws can be changed, as the Reverend just mentioned. But there is a Constitution that dictates what we do in this country. And it's laws made over 200 years ago. And we should follow them and amend them as we please. And that's what Farmers Branch is doing. If you really believe that Farmers Branch law is really a bad law, let me read you some laws that were passed in Missouri, the state of Missouri. Excuse me. It is illegal to employ unauthorized aliens, and the act mandates that every employer in the state participate in the federal basic pilot program. A company, just a few here, and it's terrible what they had passed there. The failure of timely file may trigger a tax audit. That's the basic pilot program. If the employer knowingly makes a material misrepresentation of the fact with regard to the affidavit. In Missouri, also law enforcement must inquire into the immigration status of any individual detained in jail. There's no agreement as far as illegals being able to go to school free as they are now. And of course our students going to college have to pay extra tuition because the illegals don't pay any. Aliens are barred from attending all public universities. The Act also authorizes cities, villages, and towns to enact ordinance prohibiting employment of unauthorized illegal aliens in that state. That's a tough law, not the law that was passed, that will be passed, I hope, in Farmers Branch.
And now the Garcia side. You can use that part of your 2 minutes if you'd like. Once again, the question is, should landlords be required to determine someone's immigration status before renting to them? You can use part of your 2 minutes for a rebuttal.
Well, my rebuttal is very simple. Listen, if we had not fought to change laws in America, I couldn't sit in this hotel tonight. Yeah. Most of Hispanics that's here, if you wasn't sweeping and cleaning up, you could not be here either. You have to be wise enough and sensitive enough to understand right and wrong. And right and wrong meant that the laws that said I could not come to the Holiday Inn and Farmers Branch, those laws were wrong and had to be changed. And we changed it.
Thank you, Reverend Johnson. We're going to take a very brief radio break.
I have to interrupt you. They've got the remaining part of their 2 minutes to go ahead and answer the question. Should landlords be required to determine someone's immigration status before renting to them? Go ahead.
Again, how does this make America better by asking children and parents and grandparents and senior citizens, hey, show me your papers? That sounds like Stalinist Russia or Nazi Germany. It doesn't sound like the United States of America. Let me tell you one thing I'll leave, and I'll close this up with. In Leviticus it says, if an alien dwells in your land and lives among you, do not upbraid him, but let him be among you as one of the same country, and you shall love him as yourselves, for you are aliens in the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. Now, you either believe in the Bible and what it says, or you don't. And I'm asking the citizens of Farmers Branch and the citizens of America to go look in the mirror and decide what you believe in. What are the values that you are going to fight for? Because right now, there are men and women, immigrants, who are fighting for this country in Iraq and Afghanistan. And you know what? Their wife is an illegal alien. their father and mother is an illegal alien. And over, I believe, 83 of those immigrants have already died fighting for the freedoms that are enshrined in our country's Constitution. And I hope that you look in your hearts and you look at your values, and when you go to church, do you believe those values?
Thank you, Mr. Garcia. We're going to have a very brief break here, so I'm going to ask you please just to, if you briefly need to go out, do come right back in. What we're going to do next is go to a question that has to do with the law. We're going to go out of order a little bit here because there's a very serious question for all of us related to the law that we'll ask next. We'll do that. We again thank you all for being here. You're listening to a special KLIF Town Hall debate on Stimulating Talk 570 KLIF.
Once again thank all the people listening on 570 KLIF and also all of our panelists and the assembled audience. Now with our next question, here is Jeff Bolton.
Gentlemen, we'll start with this. Correct me if I'm wrong, we're on the Cutler side at this moment. You both, this is an off-script question that you both agreed to answer. That is very much the root of the other issue we're talking about here, and that is being the rule of law. And what I want to do is ask you this, because you both answered the question in a different way, and it has to do with law. Your statement, Mr. Cutler, I believe it was yours, or it could have been Mr. Rodriguez's, was, look, we are a nation of laws, and we have to follow those laws. It's a matter of not breaking the law. And then Reverend Johnson said, if we don't like the laws, we change them. That's what America is. It brings us to the very obvious question. If the voters speak to change the law on Saturday, what happens next? Mr. Flores.
Well, first of all, I think that the city is not in the strongest of legal positions to enforce federal law. I think by coming up with an ordinance like such is very selective in nature, going after a particular group of people, even though it's fashioned through some of the lawyers. So where the impact of that, we think the impact of that is to be focused on a group of people, a group of people. How are the distinctions going to be made by who is legal and who's not legal? Just by appearance? We've already had a history in this country where people have been the subject of unfair laws, selective enforcement, etc., etc. We don't think the Constitution gives the city of Farmers Branch that right to create laws that are of a federal nature, such as these laws, this law that's being considered by the citizenry of Farmers Branch.
So I'm reading into what you're saying here. What I think I hear you saying is, in the event that you lose this, you continue to fight legally, because you don't believe that even though the people would speak, it would be, you don't think their legal position is strong enough to be supported.
Well, we don't think it's right. I think we've discussed all night long what is right and what is wrong. I think that we have, as citizens, we have a right both to change the laws and also to go to court and make sure that the laws comply with the Constitution of this country.
Okay, and that's what I was getting at. What you're saying is, even if the people say this is what we want, your requirement is that it go to a federal court and be figured out there.
Well, because like any good lawyer, you've got clients here and you've got clients here. So, lawyers are going to make a boo-boo of money. And, I think we're going to prevail ultimately.
Okay, thank you.